Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Glorious summer's day here. Do please like and subscribe. And there's a link to my latest book, which is doing very well, by the way. And let me tell you this, I'm going to talk today about the issues within the prisons on days like these. I mean, places like the Scrubs down in London are going to be extremely hot. I believe it's going to be about 27 degrees centigrade, going up to probably about 30 degrees centigrade. And of course, the prison is going to be roasting. I was there in the Scrubs in the summer of 1976, which was at the time the hottest summer that London had experienced for over 100 years. It was incredibly hot. And the inmates weren't too pleased because the cells were actually roasting. They were threed up. That's 3 in a cell, 12 foot by 8 foot. It was extremely claustrophobic. And when it came time for the exercise one Saturday, and on a roaring hot day like something like today, the inmates decided they were not coming in off the yard. Now, we're going back some time, but 1976, the staff then had a problem because don't forget we've probably got about 300 inmates on the yard, maybe more than that, but round about that. 300 inmates on the yard and perhaps 8 or 9 staff to deal with this. So what do? I mean, are you going to allow them? I mean, it's a conundrum. But what do they do? Well, I'll tell you what we did then. We picked on the biggest that we could get hold of, and we got hold of them, uplifted them one at a time, dragged them inside and locked them up one at a time. We did that with what could possibly be termed as extreme prejudice. In other words, as they were going through the doors, they tended to, we sometimes accidentally on purpose miss the doors and hit the balls, so to speak. After 4 or 5 of these, the inmates on the yard decided that they were going to come in rather than face the jailers who were one at a time picking them off. I mean, the problem was, of course, that they could, if they had leadership and a plan, they could have collectively attacked us, and they would have quickly walked through. You know, there'd have been a few casualties on the way, just basic collateral damage, but they would certainly have been able to overpower us because they weren't sufficient. We were not in sufficient numbers. And so we were taking a risk in doing that, but it was something we either did or we were going to allow the inmates to take over. And once you do that, then you're on a serious hiding to nothing. And at the Scrubs and Strangeways, Armley Jail, Wandsworth, Pentonville, all the jails like that, it just did not happen. Which is one thing that seriously surprised me when it came to the Strangeways Riot, which I will be dealing with in my next book. Because when the riot kicked off at Strangeways, the staff did a runner. I have never seen anything like that. I have a theory about this, which I will discuss in time, and it's concerning overtime, because the staff at Strangeways were, addicted to overtime. Imagine that. Some of them working 6-7 days a week. Seriously. I know one guy who did 30 on the trot evening duty shifts all the way through, 7 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, 30 days on the trot. Coco Bennett. They called him Coco Bennett because every time there was cocoa being served, he was serving it or he was in charge of it. Mainly because he very rarely had a day off. I mean, what do you do with it? I mean, that's not really the way to live your life, is it? What kind of a life would you have? But I found that at the Scrubs, a lot of them were doing the same kind of thing, but it wasn't quite the drinking culture that they had at Strangeways. Well, Strangeways, they were all going in the club, and all the time that they spent working in the jail, they were putting it behind the bar and basically getting pissed, including the governor and the chief officer, his good buddy. You can see them actually if you look on YouTube on here. Yeah, there's in fact, I tell you what, I will put today down there a link to the Screws episode of the BBC documentary Strangeways, which shows the staff, and you'll see what I mean by that. Just have a look down there. There's a link. Yeah, I'll put it in when I finish this. Alright, so basically on a day like this there's going to be trouble somewhere because the inmates won't go in, and what they're going to do, the tiller girls won't be able to shift them. Yeah, the hostess program will fall because they just can't handle it. I mean, you can't get half a dozen women going out there picking blocks up and dragging them in. They wouldn't do it, would they? Well, they wouldn't be able to do it. And all very well good and nice to say, would you please come in? Hey, we'll give you a little dance. Take a choice from the tray. Yeah, I mean, what they're doing here. And it's hot here, but it's going to be a lot hotter in London. So mark my words, there is going to be trouble. And the trouble that's going to come, they just don't have the big boys anymore to handle it. At the Scrubs, the guy who was working on the landing, C2 landing with me, was ex-SAS. I'd been and done P Company in the Parachute Regiment, so I'd done all that. I was the middleweight boxing chap, so I knew how to put myself around, and so did most of the other staff. But you go on there and have a look today. I mean, from the reports of people here who've been recently in prison, you'll see them if you read the comments. People are saying they've been in various prisons in Britain, and it's run by kids, grannies, and little girls. What is the world coming to? Should never do that. I also saw one report from a lady who'd been convicted of smuggling, defrauding the DHS, Department of Work and Pensions and all that, out of £50 million. She'd set up a scheme, and all the money was going to Belgium, I think, or Bulgaria, somewhere like that. And she ended up in prison. She said it was like a holiday camp. She was getting her hair styled and manicured and mixing with people of a like mind, female criminals, drug addicts, etc. So that's what's going to happen today, in my opinion. The next couple of days it's going to be exceedingly hot, and inmates are just going to say, we ain't going in. 3 to a cell, nope, we ain't doing it. So I sincerely hope you enjoyed that little chat, folks. Don't forget, on the 2nd of July at 7 p.m, Tuesday the 2nd of July, 7 p.m, here we're going to have a live broadcast. So please do join me then. In the meantime, I've just rung the song dear. That's just to warn the likes of Larry, who's got his goats to look after. Yeah, so I'm going to sing you a song now. I mean, you're hanging around, so here we go. I played this, I've got it on my jukebox actually. I'm not going to play it on my jukebox because it's copyrighted, isn't it? So I'm just going to sing you my version of the song, which I think is pertinent today. When it was released in the 1968, I think, or 69, it was quite a prescient view of what is happening. It's called Eve of Destruction, because I think we're getting there, don't you folks? The Eastern world, it is exploding, violence flaring, bullets loading. You don't believe in war, but what's that gun you're toting? And even the Jordan River got bodies floating. And you tell me over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Can't you understand what I'm trying to say? Don't you feel the fears I'm feeling today? When the button is pushed, there's no running away. There'll be no one to save with the world in its grave. And you tell me over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. There you go. Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton.